Why do you have a New York hat on?
This is Ralph.
Yeah, but it still says NY. I mean, I love it, but
I'm international. This could say Madrid.
you have a good New Year.
I had a great New Year. I was chilling, man.
I'm sorry, I was dead by 9 o'clock.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's so good to have rich friends. I was all over the place, but I was on a simulator,
Golf.
LJ has a beautiful simulator in his house, and I was thinking about getting a simulator. I'm like, why would I buy a simulator when this guy has spent top dollar on a simulator?
Because you can play it at home.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I can also play it at his house, and I don't need him to be there.
Well, in that case, if it's like that, yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean if it's like that? I just go, what do you mean?
LeBron probably doesn't need a simulator. In his house, he could just have an actual golf course.
No, he has probably, yeah. Yeah, but the simulator's beautiful.
Do you know, remember how you said I have to be more positive in the new year? I did not start the new year positively because I'm watching, which game was it? It's the Indiana game, blowout. Thank God I didn't. I was about to say on the show on Wednesday.
Indiana's
I was
really
about to
good.
say on the show on Wednesday. I have a sneaking suspicion Alabama can upset them. But anyway, it's such a blowout that the thing that stuck with me in that game, there was a hair commercial, like for men, right? And I don't have any problem with that. But maybe because I'm a Larry David fan, and he's like
I love Larry David.
Yeah, the best. And he's always making the bald, like making an issue of the fact that, like that's some people shave their heads bald, they're not actually bald. Other people are not bald by choice, all that kind of stuff.
Jadakiss did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought Jadakiss was
yeah, right. No, he just shaved his head, yeah.
It's crazy.
But this commercial comes on, it infuriated me. On behalf of bald people, I got infuriated. They have this really like Nordic looking dude, right? With the big head of hair. And what'd he say? He said something like, your hair is a reflection of what's happening with you on the inside, or something like that. I thought, what is he? It's not
your hair?
Yeah, like because they're trying to sell their hair product.
Maybe he's saying like the follicles.
The follicles. But they're trying to sell their hair product. And really what they're doing is some asshole, like an ad agency, sat there and went, you know what? What if we told them that there's something wrong with them on the inside if they're bald? Like the balding reflects some kind of moral sin or some kind of like bad thing about them.
What was that movie?
What kind of a dick comes up with that? You think bald people don't feel bad enough about it? You can't just say, hey, here's some stuff you can regrow your hair. You have to tell them that there's something wrong with them on the inside.
That reminds me of that movie that Eddie Murphy was in when he was, didn't he date a girl or he was a chief executive at like an ad agency?
You talking about when she took off the wig? That's I'm gonna get you, sucker.
No. This is Boomerang, I think. It's Boomerang. I think when he is it
Maybe
Boomerang?
I'm forgetting.
Well, he was working at a company.
Okay.
He talked about this, and he was an executive.
Right.
He was an executive, and people were like, didn't really like the movie because it showed black people in these roles as like he was an actual executive.
No, it wasn't a black movie, quote unquote. It was like regular people, but the people who filled the positions
were black.
Of professionals were black.
But in that, I think it was it Grace Jones? It was some type of fragrance that was a marketing campaign.
Oh yeah, man! I saw Boomerang once in the
theater.
That
was Boomerang, right?
Maybe this is going back 30 years.
That was Boomerang. That was good. That was a really good.
Everyone
movie.
says that, but I only saw it once. I saw Distinguished Gentleman like 2 or 3 times. I only saw Boomerang once.
Yeah, I thought Boomerang was a good movie. But the marketing campaign was what I was referring to. Like sometimes you get those things.
All I could think of, I don't know why that made I just. Life is hard enough for bald people. You got to make them feel like it's something wrong. And why am I the only person that realizes this stuff?
Is hair really that important? Like, because I tell you something. When I was a kid, Montel Williams was the man. Mm-hmm. He had a bald head.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Bald head.
When your guy held on too long, it didn't look right. You just got to take it off.
Listen, Tupac had a bald head. I don't think Tupac was bald. I think he
Dude, I had a baldy. That was the style. I had a baldy when I was like 20 years old.
You know what? I had a baldy one time. I cut my hair bald. I didn't like it. I went back to my 360s.
I loved it. No one around me liked it. but I loved it. You get out of the shower, you're dry already. You know what I mean? Like everything's.
Yeah, but what look were you going for?
You roll out of bed and go.
But what look were you going for?
I mean, that was the style back then.
For who?
I mean, if you grew up in New York.
You trying to be Benny Hill?
If you grew up in New York, and you know, like that was, you had either the Timbs or the Uptowns, the Air Force Ones.
You wanted to be a New York. You wanted to be an Onyx. That's what you wanted to do. You wanted to be the fifth member
but
Onyx.
It was a look. All right. You ready to do this?
Great. Yeah, let's do it.
Game Over is presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got it all. Same game parlays, quick bets for jumping in live, and your way so you can build the bet that fits your play. Plus, don't miss out on the NFL playoffs all month long. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/GameOver to get started. 21 and over and present in select states, or 18 and over and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Rich, I'm sorry about Ohio State. I'm sorry.
Is this how we're going to start the show?
Listen, that's what happened, you know?
You know what? I'm still mourning, man.
Are you?
I think you have to.
Did you think you were going to defend the title?
Yes. What do you mean, did I think?
I don't
But see, the problem I have is I'm sitting there and it really, when the Buckeyes or the Browns lose, I'm really not a nice guy the next day. Right. It really bothers me.
What percentage of your quality of life would you say when your team loses? Does your overall quality of life decrease? 5%, 10%, 25%? What is it?
It depends on the game. Like if the Buckeyes lose the first game of the season, 5%. Right. I'm a no.
No, I mean when your team gets eliminated.
The Buckeyes being eliminated, plus the rain in LA, I can't play golf.
Right.
And my Buckeyes are out.
This is quite a life you've carved out for yourself.
50%.
Quite a life you've carved out for yourself.
No, 50%.
Rains in LA, you can't play golf.
I'm looking for answers.
Your team that won the championship didn't defend it. They only got to the playoff.
I'm looking for answers. That's why I'm dressed like Inspector Gadget today, because
you got the whole bear theme this whole week.
I told you I'm going bear all week. Yeah. See, you don't know what it's like to be a low life. And I'm not talking about like an idiot. I'm talking about a low life. I'm a low life.
I understand.
But the platform, the industry I work in don't really value. You know, so now we have a stage. I can go in my closet and bring my
take all your polo stuff out.
Not just polo. See, when you're trying to build a wardrobe, you build a wardrobe timeless. And I tell my guys this all the time. You don't need $1,000 hoodies. Let's build a real timeless
the classic
wardrobe.
Pieces.
Yeah, things that never, you know, and it don't have to cost you $2,500 all the time. Like you know, look, I can shop at the highest of the highest, or I can mix that in with. I'll still go to TJ Maxx. I'll go to Ross. I'll go to a thrift store and find something. Well, I won't go, but still. Actually, I take that back.
I'll still go to the thrift store. I'll send my staff.
Here's the thing: depending on who I'm with, I don't send no staff. No, it depends on who I'm with. But you know, I don't mind going sifting through things to find.
See what you're doing, right?
The right piece.
You see what you're doing?
What am I doing?
You're trying to avoid talking about the game.
I know, because I'm screwed, man. It's like, here's what I thought. I'm going to tell you something. I told you, but to my credit, I said, I don't know, Max, because Miami's defense. I did say that.
So
if we go back
Miami's
on the tape,
defense, so Miami had a defense, an efficient quarterback, and a power run game. That's complementary football. That's the way they used to draw it up, right? Line of scrimmage, especially on the defensive side, quarterback's not making mistakes, run the ball. But so like that's like kind of what happened if describing it in terms of football stuff. But the bigger picture was, Rich, and we talked about this last show with Ben Simmons. You talked about like Ben Simmons' mountain was not like some people, their mountaintop is getting to the league. Some people, their mountaintop is getting to the league, getting to that second contract, the max contract, if they're a top player.
Or 2 or 3.
Right. But I'm saying, like, what is your mountaintop? When do you get full? And some people, when I told you that Derek Jeter story, what do you not have that you still want? And he had 5 rings, so I'm thinking maybe he'll say MVP. He said a 6th ring. Derek Jeter's mountaintop is infinite. He wants more.
Are you saying my Buckeyes mismanaged?
I'm saying your Buckeyes were a little bit full. A little bit. Now, I don't want to take any credit away from those. They're young
think
guys. They played hard, but I mean, it's like the eye of the tiger thing from Rocky III, right? Miami, that was the difference between thinking you want it and needing it. Miami played like they needed it.
Look, when Jeremiah Smith made the comments, he said, had Miami been on the track that they're on now before, he might have gone there.
Right.
To me, that's eye-opening. And to me, it says that Cristobal understands the assignment, and he also has read the room. And this is taking a step in the right direction, beating a team like the defending champ, Ohio State Buckeyes. And I just felt like those kids on the defense and even on the offense, man, when I look at those plays, I mean, everybody from Fletcher. And by the way, Carson Beck.
Yes, man.
Was phenomenal, but he's also experienced.
Mm-hmm.
See, when he left Georgia, people was like, why would he leave a program like that? Blah, blah, blah. Now look, and I just thought that team was really ready to play. But ultimately, the 23 days off hurt us. The 23 days off really hurt us. I don't like the 23 days off.
Now, I know how you...
That's twice it's hurt us.
You, the football fan, us, day of mourning, all that stuff. But then there's Rich Paul, businessman. And you run an agency.
I'm always that.
And when you run an agency, you are, I'm sure, looking at prospects in a game. How many pro prospects do you think played in that game?
Which game?
Ohio State and Miami.
Oh, God.
Because those are two programs where you hear your team is drafting a guy from there, you're happy.
First of all, let's just go on the defensive end. We'll start with Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They have a freshman corner, I believe, that's going to be a pro.
Yep.
The ends were incredible.
Incredible.
Bain and the other guy was, incredible. I wrote these things down, but I'm trying not to look at my phone because when I freestyle, I try not to look at my bars.
Get open a little bit.
Then there was a kid, number 8. He was bringing the heat on the defensive end.
The whole defense was swarming.
Hurricanes. They were swarming. They were flying across the field. And Ray Lewis was on the sideline, which gives you even...
juice.
If Ray Lewis is on the sideline, you have to bring it.
Yeah.
On the defensive end.
Greatest middle linebacker ever.
Ohio State's defense, McDonald... McDonald is the new Vince Wilfork. I'm telling you.
High praise.
I'm telling you, he's the new Wilfork. Arvell Reese, he's the next. He's Micah type.
He might go 1 overall.
He depending on what the need. And then you got Styles, and who I believe is one of the smartest defensive players in college
so
football
you're talking about
history.
first-round picks.
I haven't even mentioned Downs yet.
Right.
These are yes. These are all real
They got
guys
on offense who aren't even going to come out yet, like Ohio State does.
And I just, you know what? We got to change that rule.
Which one?
In football, number one, it's such a high contact sport. The fact that, first of all, you have Tate, who probably is the best wide receiver in the nation right now.
If he's even the best wide receiver on his own team.
Yeah, but he's eligible to go out
the
in
best
the draft.
who can come out.
The best who can come out. But Jeremiah Smith, hey, an embarrassment of riches for me because...
But that's why college football has retained a bigger audience than college basketball.
Yes.
Because
now,
you're going to get to see Jeremiah Smith, over the course of a college
and I understand
career.
why the rule is there.
And with NIL, now they get paid. It's not like they're going to wind up not making money.
Yes, but here's what I'm saying. I understand why the rule is... I don't want to get the listeners confused. I get it. Because it's such a high contact sport, you can't just rush into the NFL.
Right.
But there's an exception, I believe, to every rule. Mm-hmm. And there's sometimes guys come around like Jeremiah Smith. And it always tends to happen at Ohio State. It happened before with a guy named Maurice Clarett years ago. But Jeremiah Smith, okay, I get it. We should have like 2 years and an option or something. And there should be like a rule where if you get the majority of votes from the NFL, that this guy is able to come out.
That's interesting. Because now you have a whole other event. You could televise that.
Yeah.
Like a draft almost.
Because like if Jeremiah Smith was able to come out this year, he might go number 1 overall.
Right.
Because if the Giants, your Giants, gets the number one pick.
Yep.
They
won't,
have
but
Jackson Dart. Well, they won't get it.
They won't.
But if they did,
I'll
or
take
just say a team that had a quarterback already, and then you have a receiver, like your Giants have Malik Neighbors coming
and
back.
a running back.
And a running back.
And,
If you're able to get Jeremiah Smith
now you have
with
two A receivers.
Now
two
you might
number
get
ones.
Tate too, so that'll be just as good. But I'm just saying.
I don't know if it'll be just as good.
I think it'll be as good. I think Carnell Tate's going to be really good. Now,
I think he'll be good too.
Jeremiah
but
Smith.
That's a little different.
I think everyone knows that.
A little different.
But what I'm saying
doesn't
is,
he have?
you can't be don't get too cute, okay? Because you got to take what you can get.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
especially when they win
we got to
meaningless week 17
we got to have
games.
like a 2+1 for guys like a Jeremiah Smith.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. And you could turn it into a televised event.
Turn
to
into
see
whatever
it
you want.
As you count the votes. And why wouldn't the NFL would love that? And it wouldn't even destroy college football because it's only going to be a couple of guys.
Because even as a Buckeye fan, I won't be greedy. First of all, we got the guy come from South Florida right before the Hurricanes got good. Thank God.
Right.
Secondly, we already won one national championship. Thank God again. I'm not going to be greedy. Man.
And at least it
I'm
wasn't
not going to
Michigan.
be greedy.
For Ohio State fans. So the other playoff games in college football, I thought halfway through the last game last night, which turned out to be a classic, I thought I was going to come out here today and be like, well, it wasn't scintillating, but it was defense carried the day, right? Because Oregon, it was defense. They pitch a shutout. Miami, it was really the defense that won that game. And even Indiana, where everyone's going to focus on the offense because of Mendoza, and they were rolling offensively, but their defense was stifling, right?
Did you think that we'd be sitting here today and Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama would be out?
I had a sneaking suspicion Alabama would pull off an upset,
I'm
and
just saying,
I
when you
thought
think about-
Georgia and Ohio State would win.
But let me ask you this
Thank God
question.
I didn't say anything.
Is this good for college football? Because it's the college football playoff paying off in a manner of, I just named 3
upsets.
Not just
Or
upsets.
not all of them
No,
are
but when you
upsets,
talk
but
about those
storied franchises that usually,
yes,
once upon a time that was Miami, but it hasn't been
Georgia,
for a while.
Alabama,
Yep.
Ohio State.
Those are that's
juggernauts
royalty.
of college football.
And
they're
Indiana,
all,
which is a basketball program, you think Indiana, you think Hoosiers. Just like
I'm gonna tell you something.
I kind of like the world better though when UCLA is basketball, USC is football.
No, but we have to.
I don't know.
Yeah. I like that.
I'm like a Dana Carvey on
US,
SNL.
But
He
I
used to
think
do a character called the
USC
Grumpy Old Man.
basketball is trying to turn around.
It is, but I like things the way they used to be.
But you know what this is about?
Huh.
This all goes back to Nick Saban.
Okay.
Nick Saban.
Oh yeah, the coaching tree
is the
last
Greg
night. Bananas.
Popovich of college football.
Bananas.
He is.
Bananas.
And you know where Nick Saban coached? For my Browns.
That's right.
With Bill Belichick.
It's amazing because NIL comes, everything changes. Nick Saban's gone. As soon as you turn around, NIL's here, Nick Saban's gone.
Well, if you notice,
but his whole coaching tree is dominating the top of college
how
football.
smart are Nick Saban and Coach K? They said, you know what? And this is an issue. When it gets to a point in a business where you can't distinguish good from great, it's probably in trouble at that point.
Right.
And NIL
they're paying guys who are
takes
good
that
as
away.
though they're great.
Yeah, it takes that away. So if I'm Nick Saban, I do the same thing. But
he looks a lot better because of the coaching tree.
What he left behind,
yeah,
all those guys from Kiffin to Cristobal to
kind of every coach yesterday.
Yeah, the other one, Signetti.
Everybody.
All of them.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
But so anyway, so halfway through the last game of the night, I'm thinking, no, that's a classic. That was a classic. Ole Miss and Georgia's a classic. But I'm thinking, okay, it's staying with the theme because Georgia's defense is the difference in the game. I actually thought Ole Miss outplayed them in the first half, except Georgia's defense came away with 2 takeaways. Georgia's going to win. Here they go. They're going to start rolling. And it went from, hey, the theme of the day is defense. None of the games were great, to, oh, my God, that is an instant classic last night. And I thought, speaking of coaches, Golding, when Kiffin's gone, Golding is there on 4th and 3 around midfield, a little bit into Georgia territory, but not only does he go for it, they come up with 36 yards. And I thought that was that flipped the game. That play flipped the game to me.
You have to be willing to take those risks.
And then at the end, the fact that they called a safety, and I know it's like, what are the odds that they're going to be able to lateral the ball 50,000 times and score? It's like 0, right? But I remember as a Giants fan in 2007, when the Giants are about to beat the greatest team ever, undefeated
Why does
Patriots.
Everything have to go back to the Giants?
Same reason it goes back to the Browns with you.
Man, that was 20 years ago. Yeah, you're right.
But
you don't get to do that.
Well, I'm doing it right now.
So you have a Super Bowl.
Yeah, 2.
Right.
Well,
so
4,
I get
but
to
2
go.
of those.
Yeah,
2 of those.
should, yeah.
But the point is, at the end of that game, people forget this. The Giants had this incredible win. Brady had 2 shots down the field at Randy Moss. And as a Giants fan, my heart was in my throat. Like, oh my God, they're going to actually do.
Who was guarding Randy Moss?
I don't. I mean, like,
nobody
ever
over
guarded.
The top.
Because he's streaking down the sideline, and Brady's throwing 2 bombs. And my point is not that play was as likely as a pass from Brady to Moss, but I know if you're an Ole Miss fan, you're thinking, oh man, here it comes. Like, this would be the craziest ending to a game ever.
That bothered me.
What did?
That the Giants won that Super Bowl because Moss didn't.
Yeah, no, it didn't bother me. It was the greatest sports moment of my life, probably.
I know. For all you Giants fans. I have a lot of friends that's Giants fans from New York.
Trinidad Chambliss, man. Oof. Oof.
Player.
Yeah.
Player.
Yes.
But see, even though Lane Kiffin left, the culture didn't leave.
Okay.
The confidence from the coach to the players, those kids still believe. No one's checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's locked in. That says a lot.
Even the fact that Kiffin left, like, that's a college football rules problem. That's not, like, if you have certain dates at which certain people will be available where you have why? Yeah. Of course the coaches are going to leave.
The coach just said this. Was it Oregon's coach?
Who said what?
Exactly what you just said. He said, we should roll right into the college playoffs.
Right, and then
the last game should be January 1st. And then you don't have all these issues with the coaches.
Of course, like, everyone got mad at Lane Kiffin when if you set up the rules to a game, people will exploit them. It's no different than like when the NBA came up with the gather step and then you can take 2 steps. The result is this ridiculous stuff where guys are driving to the basket, hopping back 3 steps and claiming it's legal. They'll exploit the rules.
Yes, but Lane Kiffin hit the lottery. We cannot expect him to walk around with the ticket in his pocket.
Of course
he has to cash it.
Of course.
And I don't think anybody that plays the lottery, when your number comes out, you're going to cash that ticket.
Yeah, I got the Mega Millions, but I'm just going to wait.
I'm going to wait around?
Like
what are you talking about?
The point is, incentives shape behavior. And if the incentives of a game are set up a certain way, then guess what? Guys will try to draw walks, even though that wasn't the point of balls and strikes. Guys will try to draw fouls.
They draw fouls in the NBA all the time.
And people will exploit the rules of the game for their own benefit. Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Like, I don't know why anyone was mad at Lane Kiffin.
Can't be mad at Lane Kiffin. But,
hate the player, don't hate the game.
But, again.
Excuse me. That's a Freudian slip. Reverse that. Go ahead.
Hate the game, don't hate the player?
Yeah.
Yes. But I'm not so sure that the soil isn't still rich at Ole Miss.
It is, obviously.
Yeah. So
obviously.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Game Over is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's putting you in control right from tip-off. That's right. You get to choose your reward. Play it safe. Go for it. Feeling bold? That's your move. Whatever your style, you're in control. No matter how you play, FanDuel's giving you the power to choose your reward and own your game this NBA season. Head to FanDuel.com/gameover to make your pick, get in the game, and play it your way. 21 and over and present in select states, or 18 and over and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. What are you most looking forward to this weekend in the NFL because there are two, like everyone's talking like Panthers
I'm Ravens
and,
Steelers. I'm
yeah,
Ravens
100%.
Steelers.
Me
I'm
too.
Ravens
That's the
Steelers.
number one
I'm
game.
Ravens Steelers.
That's the number one game.
All day long.
So we can
Ravens
start there
Steelers.
because Panthers, Bucks, neither one of those teams has a shot to win the Super Bowl. I don't care what happens. I don't care. Like people are making it like it's. I mean, if you live in Tampa, you live in Carolina. Okay, I get it. But otherwise, come on, let's not kid
But
ourselves.
see, I have to look at this. This is my setup.
Even though Ravens Steelers might not win either, but that's a traditional rivalry that's different
What
than
you
Panthers
mean
Bucks.
Ravens Steelers might not win? The Super Bowl, you saying?
Super Bowl,
I'm not
well,
worried about. Forget that.
Lamar
Super Bowl,
Jackson healthy, they have
no.
a shot,
We have to go week
and they'll
by
get
week.
Metcalf back. So
We have to go
maybe
week
they
by
can.
week. Ravens Steelers.
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah.
Okay. Now, what time they play?
I don't know what is that. What time is that game?
Gemini. Oh, we don't have Gemini.
Yeah, we don't have Gemini.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's a night
But-
game.
okay,
yeah.
it's
Of
a night
course,
game.
of course, of course.
Great.
Prime.
It's a night game.
Yeah.
So that is great for me because here's my Sunday. I have to wake up. I have to do a core workout.
Pilates. What do you do?
Pilates.
That's what I do. I got herniated discs or had. Got to do Pilates. Great core work.
I've done hot Pilates sometimes, but I do like a core circuit. But
So, Corey, you
I've
got
been-
the little half
I've been asked
thing.
to go to Pilates, but
Yeah.
really quick. So then I have to do that. If it's nice out, I can get me around a 9 in.
All right.
Calls,
Okay.
have to call, and I have to check the NBA schedule because now we're getting to that space where NBA is on every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I probably will only watch one football game this Sunday. I'll skim over the when does the 49ers and Seahawks play? Sunday too?
You're asking me for times. Here's my Sunday. I'll just tell like that you went through your Sunday. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to turn on the TV. I'm going to keep it on football all day long. That's all. That's my Sunday plans.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But see, yeah, I used to could do that, but when the NBA is on,
I know it gets tough.
I have to watch NBA, and then also we're at that time where
When me and Simmons are texting, you guys always have like all of a sudden I'll get a text from Simmons about something that's happened in the NBA in the middle of like a big NFL game.
yeah, because you got to have an iPad.
I know you guys
on.
have 50
you have to have
different TVs
iPad, and you have to have TV on, and then other TV on.
I try to follow stuff on my phone, but I'm watching my big screen, the game that I'm watching. I like
Do you
to pay
watch
attention.
it on YouTube TV?
Yeah, and Prime because I need
Yeah.
to get the NBA and NFL.
Okay, but then what about? Damn, I have to go to Leora for brunch too, so I got to fit that all in.
Got to fit it all in. You're gonna have to be
Pause.
checking.
Whoa. I don't even play pause, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We got to be careful when we say these type
Yeah.
of things. I'm not. I only do that on other people's platforms, but I just know that they're watching, and I don't want because you got to understand something.
Listen.
Every now and then, I get a call
Yeah,
from Mason Cam,
right.
so I just want to be careful when we say stuff. So
That's
okay.
great. They have a great show. They got a
They
great
have a great show.
They have
They
a
have a-
great
yeah.
show.
I don't want to say that too loud
Why?
because, I mean, no lunch, no nothing. These guys, this is all good. It's all good.
Listen, anyway, we could start with Ravens Steelers. Let me tell you something. This could be like the which coach stays bowl because there's buzz that either
Which
Harbaugh
coach
or
stays?
that Harbaugh and Tomlin maybe are getting a little stale. Okay,
I tell
Rich,
you
let me
one
start by
thing.
saying if it's me and I'm the Ravens, I'm not letting Harbaugh go anywhere. I'm obviously not going to let Mike
you
Tomlin go
crazy?
anywhere from the Steelers.
Let me ask you this question.
However,
If you fire,
I'm not the Ravens or Steelers.
Just let me ask you this question. If you fire Mike Tomlin and or Harbaugh, who are you hiring?
You're preaching to the choir. I
You
get
know
it.
they say who says no? Who says no? Who are you hiring?
Better than those guys
I'll
for those
wait.
franchises.
I will wait.
But so there's a lot on the line here, and when the Jets 3-4 years ago were looking for a quarterback, everyone was like, "Oh, you got to give up all this draft capital for Rodgers." And I was doing a show called This Just In at the time on ESPN,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember saying at the time, like, Rodgers, he's 100 years old, he's not as good as he used to be. You have to give up all this stuff for Rodgers. Lamar Jackson's having a contract dispute basically with the Ravens. He's young. You have a young nucleus on the Jets, and you can grow together. Why would you target Rodgers instead of Lamar Jackson, right? And Lamar Jackson's won the MVP since then and everything, and another one. And now these two guys, because Lamar's going to play, are facing each other. Maybe whether rightly or wrongly, Rich, maybe with their coaches' futures on the line, could be. It could be whether we like it or not.
Okay, let's just say could be. I don't think so, but whatever. But going back to your point about the Jets, you can't be upset about the Jets not going after Lamar because sometimes this happens, especially in free agency.
Okay.
Sometimes a guy like Lamar Jackson, right? He's a free agent, kind of, but not kind of.
He ain't really going to go.
Right.
Right.
Not even so much as that. Will Baltimore really allow him to get away from them? Doing those type of deals are the hardest deals to do because you would think like, that's why they put it in free agency. It's like, well, you have a restricted free agency. They give you a certain amount of time, and most of these guys that become restricted are top picks, etc. But they never get an offer sheet. Offer sheets are so hard to get in the NBA because the other team is not trying to waste his time. So you have to look at, okay, where their salary is. You got to look at, their spending.
In the case of Lamar, though,
history
that was coming to a head.
Yeah, now in that
case, if I'm
case,
the Jets, I'm at least going to try to throw a line out, see what happens.
Here's the thing: in football, it may be different. In basketball, I'm just saying, to get an offer sheet during free agency for a talent of the level of a Lamar Jackson is come few and far in between.
I mean, they did it to Jeremy Lin when he was like, if you're in New York, you didn't want to let him walk away.
I said the talent of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this game. The Steelers won't have Metcalf because of the injury.
That sucks.
Gainwell is actually Rodgers' best receiver. Because of the suspension, 2-game suspension. Pardon me. 2-game suspension. Gainwell's actually Rodgers' best receiver out of the backfield.
It's going to be all about the defense with the Steelers.
It ain't MVS.
If the Steelers' defense, it's all about the defense. I know they have Rodgers. I know the Metcalf situation, Gainwell. But at the end of the day, this game for the Steelers is about their defense.
I don't know. I think it's.
What do you mean?
I agree. It is about the defense, but not the way maybe people think. Like if you look at Tomlin, who's never had a losing season, and that goes through eras where he didn't have a quarterback, when he didn't have a defense. Like this idea, I think there's this idea of Tomlin. He's kind of put in a box of a rah-rah coach. Oh, he's the best rah-rah coach, right?
There's no rah-rah.
But there is. Like he's very much a coach that you would run through a brick wall for. Like you could see it when he's at the podium, right? But
I call that like he's like a motivator.
Yeah,
he's
right.
Somebody,
but that's what I mean. Like
but
he's
rah-rah is like you. Rah-rah to me is like you
it's
bring
like
the rah-rah
it's
because your
superficial,
coaching skill set isn't that great.
But I think there is a perception of Tomlin that there's something like that going on. And
Hold on.
Who?
This is Tyron Lue. Let me make sure. Ronnie Lou, I'm shooting my show. You want to do lunch? I'm almost done. I just wanted to make sure you wasn't calling me with any important information. But
6
I'll
in a
call you
row.
back. He's won 6 in a row.
6 in a row. It's looking pretty good right now.
I know you. What you mean? Why are you
Kawhi
screaming
can
at
score
me?
40 every game.
Tell Max what?
Tell Max where to have my back, because I know Rich don't.
That's a lot. That's not. Now, why do you treat me like? You know what? Goodbye, man. Goodbye.
Listen.
First of all,
I never thought the Clippers, the way they were looking early, was going to roll. We're going to roll.
Let's not
6
get off
in a row.
subject. Steelers.
Kawhi's going crazy.
But I don't like Ty Lue treat me like that. But he always.
Okay,
does.
wait. So hold on. So Tomlin, I'm not saying that I think this about him. I'm saying I think he's put in that box there's a perception of him that the way he wins games is by motivating the players. What I'm saying is there's no way a guy who has who's been the coach for all this time, at times where you're an offensive team with no defense, at times where you're a defensive team with no offense, at times where you have some of both. Like, so
which goes back to my point. You cannot fire this guy, but go ahead.
Okay, right. So, but if one of their jobs is on the line here, think about where Tomlin is right now, where last week against the Browns, the game plan was clearly don't let Myles Garrett get to Aaron Rodgers. Right? It was clear. Rich,
I don't know if that was the overall. That was part of the game plan.
If I am
it wasn't
game
the
planning
game plan.
for the Browns, I think that's a very good idea. Myles Garrett acted like someone was trying to stop him from getting the sack record. But yes, you are trying to stop one of the best pass rushers who ever lived from getting to your ancient quarterback, who, by the way, looks like he doesn't like to get hit anymore. Like, let's be honest.
I wouldn't like to get hit by Myles Garrett.
You're 40-something years old.
Bump into Myles Garrett just like walking down a sidewalk. I wouldn't
Right.
even.
Right,
Don't
that's a
even
big dude.
listen, Miles. Don't even bump me.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. When I see Miles, I'm like, Miles, what's up, bro? Good. Because even if he shakes your hand, like
That's a big
somebody
dude.
like myself, no. Because
That's
I
a
told
big
you what happened when Bo Jackson shook my hand that
Yeah.
one time.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's like, you ever see the old Flintstones things where Bam Bam would shake someone's hand and pick them up off the ground?
and
That's what Myles
Miles-
Garrett shaking your hand, Rich Paul's going up off the
to
ground.
be that big of a guy with that agility,
Crazy.
this guy is.
So it's a good idea for Tomlin to try to stop him. Now, going into this game, but in winning the battle, he lost the war. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion. So you can overthink things, and it's pretty basic. Stop Myles Garrett from killing Aaron Rodgers. Okay, you did that. You did that, but you lost
Well, that
the
would
game.
help you. That will help you at least have a better offensive
Chance.
efficiency rating.
So
That's for sure.
in this game, what's the story? Lamar is compromised, right? And in the playoffs anyway, they're like, well, make Lamar beat you. And the conventional wisdom would be stop who on the Ravens? What's
Derrick
conventional?
Henry.
Derrick Henry. Stop
Yes.
Derrick Henry. So if I'm Harbaugh, I am planning to counter Tomlin's moves to stop Derrick Henry. Hold on. To stop Derrick Henry, right? What I'm saying is Tomlin just learned the lesson that you can win the battle and lose the war. I wonder if he's not putting a wrinkle in his game plan right now, that he doesn't need to win that battle. He can lose that battle with Derrick Henry and still win the war. I know Lamar's compromised. You want him to try to beat you anyway in the playoffs. He hasn't done great. Derrick Henry's a juggernaut. I get all that. But, like, I give Tomlin more credit than just being a motivator of guys.
Well, listen, I don't know if it's a wrinkle. I think you just have to prepare your defense to go out and win a ball game. But the question I was going to ask you is, how many touches should Derrick Henry get in this game?
Infinity. Like, they need.
So you said, because back in the day, a guy would have 36 carries. Jerome Bettis would have 36
And
carries.
Derrick Henry is not just a great running back, he's a clutch running back. Like, we have seen Derrick Henry through a playoff series put up record-breaking numbers even when everybody knew, here's what's coming, let's try to stop it, and they couldn't stop it, right? We've seen him do that. So you're going to feed Derrick Henry, obviously, right?
Okay.
Obviously.
Well, so who do you have winning? I got to put you on the spot.
I should take, because no Metcalf, I should take Baltimore. I just feel like now this is the playoffs starting now for these teams, because there is no playoffs for the loser. So these teams both know what's ahead of them. We need to win 5 games to win the Super Bowl. And so the way your guy, LeBron.
Who do you have winning,
I'm
Max?
answering.
LeBron has nothing to do with
does,
this.
you'll see.
No, he does not.
LeBron
We can't keep going back to LeBron. He has nothing to do with this.
He doesn't play defense in the regular season.
That's not true.
Because.
Listen, hold up. Wait a minute.
Because he's saving his defense for high leverage moments, right? So if the game's on the line, he'll play defense. In the playoffs, he'll play defense in high leverage moments. But he's 41 years old.
You know what?
He can't score 20 a night and play defense.
That's a fair point. Because I get on him about not boxing out.
Come on.
Not playing.
But that's smart.
But I've always got him.
And by the way, but that's smart of him, because
and
at 41, you can't do everything.
Keith Dambrot would also do the same thing, so he knows what he's doing.
And what I'm saying is Aaron Rodgers is in that category. He's 40-plus years old.
Why does it have to take you so long to say who do you have winning?
The answer is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You're no longer on linear TV. Get to the point.
The answer is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. Pittsburgh Steelers. We can move on.
No,
you got the Steelers.
I like to reveal.
No, we don't have to do that.
Yes, I'm revealing.
You picked the Steelers.
And the reason is I think Aaron Rodgers at his age has 5 games ahead of him where he knows, as much as he didn't like to get hit in the regular season, his old bones and all that.
Why do people care about that? You picked the Steelers.
He is going to do the best version of Aaron Rodgers here on out. And I think he and Mike Tomlin can make a run if they win this game, and I think they will. Even though Baltimore should be favored here.
It took you 15 minutes to say the Steelers.
What about Niners and
We need to bring our whiteboard back.
I like the whiteboard.
Yeah, me too. I don't know whose decision was it to take our whiteboard away. And you know who else likes
Yours,
the whiteboard?
I think.
No, it wasn't. You
I
know
think
who
you said you didn't like doing it in the beginning
I did
of the
not
show.
say that. You know who else likes the whiteboard?
Huh.
The people.
All right.
We need to bring it back.
Bring the whiteboard back.
Yeah.
Niners Seahawks is the only other game I'm really interested in this weekend because
Both can win the Super Bowl if they get there. I think
I don't think the Niners can with that defense.
But here's what I'm saying.
If they had their defensive guys, if they had Bosa, if they had their guys, yeah.
I'm not. If this was a
They don't.
if this was a battery, right? 100% means they can definitely win the Super Bowl. Charged, fully charged. I think both for the Seahawks and the Niners, it's probably like 20% charged, and it could be 40% if for the Seahawks if Darnold plays
That's what I was getting.
consistently.
Darnold is the key to the Seahawks. They have a Super Bowl roster. They have a coach I think that can win the Super Bowl.
Well,
But
they have a really good defense.
They have an excellent defense, but they have an offense too. They have a quarterback
Well,
who is
NSJ is.
boom or bust. Boom or bust quarterback.
I'm sorry.
What's that?
I just said his name wrong, but another Ohio State Buckeye.
But
JSN.
But yeah, for sure. But boom or bust quarterback means he must boom, and he has no more chances to bust, right? Like, okay, this game he doesn't have to be perfect because they're in the playoffs anyway.
Just
it's a matter
he
of
has
seeding.
to play well for consecutive weeks.
Not just one or two, though.
I know, I said consecutive.
It's not a bad
He
idea
has to play
start.
well.
He hasn't
all
done
the
that
way
all
through.
season. He has not
Understood.
strung even 3 games together where it's like, oh, that's
You know
good
what I
Sam
want to
Darnold.
see? I want to see you under center on an NFL Sunday.
Crazy.
Because you get up here and act like this stuff is just easy to do. Oh, he hasn't done well. I want to see you under center.
Hell no.
Okay.
By the way, Dan Orlovsky ran out of the end zone as a professional quarterback and is like the best analyst on TV. Like you know.
You know what, Dan? That was smart because I like listening to Dan.
Yeah. And he ran out of the end zone.
He's a smart guy. And he might not be as
What's
smart
that got
as
to
he
do?
is.
What's that got to
had
do
he
with what he
not
has to say about
done
football?
that. So who do you have? Steelers or Seahawks?
You mean Seahawks or Niners?
I'm sorry. Seahawks or Niners?
I'm going to take the Niners in this game.
Okay.
I'm going to take them in this game. Who do you have?
I'm going Seahawks.
What about Pittsburgh and Baltimore?
Browns.
Pittsburgh or Baltimore? Who's going to win?
Browns.
Yeah. What else? That's the only other thing from the NFL weekend is I'm curious as to whether McVay plays guys because they don't need to win the game technically. It doesn't really do anything for them, the Rams. But the Rams, and you and I have been to some Rams games this year in your box and living room, right? Like the living room away from home.
Box is great. I ain't gonna front.
It is, and you're sweet. And
Box is fantastic. I wish the Super Bowl was in LA every year.
We
of that box.
we could see, like you could see from the beginning is when they beat the Texans, they had a bunch of big wins, huge on third down, their defense. Matthew Stafford's balling out the whole thing, but not just because they lost last week. I mean, that could happen in the NFL. They've been kind of trending down. And if I'm McVay, I want to get my guys back in the swing of things before the playoffs.
I think that's important. But I will give you a pick. I think the Ravens win on Sunday. I got Ravens, Seahawks. You have Steelers, Niners.
Niners, yeah.
Okay, so on Monday we'll recap.
Seahawks should win, but I just have a feeling about that. Brock Purdy's
No,
been
you
great.
made your pick.
Brock Purdy's been great. We were talking about Tomlin and
Who's
Harbaugh,
not being fired, so forget about it.
and both those guys are big culture guys. And you sent me a clip from what was that? I don't have TikTok, so it must have been an IG clip, right?
Yeah.
Of Sark talking about culture, and you wanted to talk about culture because, like, Harbaugh and Tomlin certainly culture guys, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't necessarily want to talk about culture. I just thought it was an important topic that he was focused on.
Well,
Like,
what was it
can't-
about what he said that you
Because
liked?
the thing about it was he's basically saying it can't be an advertisement. It has to actually be a seed planted in the foundation of whether it's a university or whether it's an organization, et cetera. And I agree with that. I think before anything, like remember when the Warriors had strength in numbers?
Mm-hmm.
That mattered, and that was real. And when you talk about the Ole Miss coach and that decision that he made, Golden, to go on 4th and 3, and they got 36 yards instead. Those type of decisions, in my opinion, goes back to your culture.
Mm-hmm.
When they decided to no longer start David Lee and started Andre Iguodala, that goes to your culture that led to a championship.
How does that go to culture?
Well, your culture, when you have a culture set, right? When Popovich decided to bring Ginobili off the bench, we all know he could have started anywhere. Those guys, because of the culture, they don't lash out. They don't make it about themselves. They make it about the team. And that has everything to do with the culture that you have in place. That, hey, we are here as a team to win. We are here for everybody to do what it takes to win, everybody to play a role and embrace a role. And when you have that, and it's not just a marketing campaign, it's actually that.
Not just on a T-shirt, but it's actually you're actually doing it.
When you actually walk in the building and you feel that, that says something. And now, what that allows you to do, it allows you to take chances. When you look at going back to the Spurs, right? They took a chance. They brought Dennis Rodman into that culture, right? They also brought
Everyone always talked about taking a chance. People said that before the Bulls got Dennis Rodman. What chance are you taking that you're going to be great? Like
but back then it was all the antics. It was the wild.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm just saying.
I wish the Knicks would have taken a chance on Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. But here you go with your New York teams. But even in a situation like who were we talking about? They brought Steven Jackson and he won a championship with the Spurs. Same thing. You can do that in Golden State. You can even do that in an organization like Miami because you get there and they talk about the body fat and all that, but that's not what's important. What's important is no matter what your jacket says, when you come here, it's about the Miami Heat.
But you know what I think is the key to building that culture? What I look for is, will you reinforce your culture
on everybody? On everybody, number one.
And when it's inconvenient to do it, right? Yes. Like, will you do it? There's Teddy Atlas talks about Mike Tyson when he was in Catskill, when he was a kid coming up in Catskill. And there was a time when one of the kids who lived, because they all lived in that house with Customato, all the amateur fighters, and not all of them were going to be serious pros. Mike was. But there were other kids, like one guy worked at a gas station, right? And there was enough food for everyone to have their dinner. Mike finished his food, he wanted more, but that was being saved for the kid who worked at the gas station.
Right.
And Customato, who talked a big game about like doing things the right way, like you have to put your principles before like what's convenient, but he thought Mike was going to be heavyweight champ, and he wanted to give Mike what he wanted. And he gave in and was like, just take it. And so Mike ate the other kid's dinner, right? And those little, it's like these small moments where you're weak about because you didn't enforce the culture when it was inconvenient.
Well, that could have been the difference in Mike training a certain way when he fought Buster Douglas,
or even outside the ring stuff where he got in trouble. The point is, when you have what I look for when you talk about that type of stuff is, will the team do something that's in the short term bad for them, but they have to, like for example, the Lakers culture right now, they let Luka just do whatever he wants. That's the example. There's an example, right? On a Pat Riley team, would that happen? Spoelstra, do you think they would treat him that way? Or on the Spurs, would that happen?
This guy is just going.
Let's be honest. All right. You also sent me something else I wanted to talk about, because I'm just curious what you were thinking about.
What? I was talking about today's NBA?
Yes. You sent me a list of 5 names.
No, because you were sending me. Go ahead.
Steve Francis, Penny Hardaway, Nick Van Exel, Derrick Rose, Gilbert Arenas.
Tim Hardaway, too. Forgot about Tim Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway.
No,
don't bring up Tim Hardaway. The Knicks went after Chris Childs instead of Tim Hardaway. It killed me.
No, because we were talking about the league. You were sending me something,
so good.
And it just sparked something. But before we get to that, why isn't Kevin Durant's name in the MVP race? You see what he's doing?
I think that KD, I know what you mean, because he's on a team with a great young player, and he's making that work in a way that, I see what you mean. And you're not going to get credit for, like there's only X number of points you're going to score. There's one ball. There are only so many possessions. So when there's some sacrifice made by an all-time great in order to make the whole team better, a lot of times their counting stats will be a little off.
Why does the American all-time greats get penalized for still being great?
Why is he getting penalized for it, though?
He's not getting the recognition. He's not like, what do you mean? Do you see his numbers?
Yeah, but what are his counting numbers right now? What's he averaging?
27?
Yeah, but it's not like
91% from the free throw line.
See, the percentage numbers are going to be great.
I think he's 46 or 48% from three.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, come on, man. Like, all I'm saying is Kawhi, last
averaging
2 games.
40 for like a week
40.
now, yeah.
Like, these guys, this is what I'm talking about. These guys come into a league, they give it everything. I mean, everything.
Mm-hmm.
You would say, oh, we're paying him a lot of money, and so it's just, at the end of the day, we cannot just skip over what all these guys are doing. Not just, I'm talking about all of them. It's, to me, I don't want to get off track.
Okay, if you had to vote right now, would you vote KD as the MVP so far this season? Now, Jokic is hurt.
No, it'd be Jokic,
but he's hurt.
What I'm saying is, I can't even sit here and tell you that, KD is thinking about winning the MVP.
I'm not saying that.
But what I'm saying is, I would have his name in the MVP. Yes, I would.
I agree.
Yes.
His name should be there.
Yes.
But ultimately, if you don't think he's going to win it,
it don't matter. You have to recognize. Like, people. I used to go to my grandmother's house when I finally moved out. Not finally. I moved out when I was right away. But the trash comes out on Tuesday. And every Tuesday, I would leave my apartment and I would go and take my grandmother's trash out because I recognized the fact that she's an older lady.
Yeah.
Didn't want her to,
Sure.
In this case, from a basketball perspective, these guys it's admirable.
Mm-hmm.
When we just talked about getting to the mountaintop and not recognizing, maybe not caring as much as you should, so on and so forth. When a guy do care as much, we have to give them their flowers.
That's why I'm saying.
And they've made all the money and all that, and they still care.
The reason that KD's counting numbers, a lot of people look at counting numbers. How many points did he, what's his scoring average, instead of the percentage numbers?
I'm telling you,
KD has sacrificed because he's playing with what are we saying? Are we saying Şengün? Because that's how I hear him say it.
All I'm saying is,
so those sacrifices will probably cost him MVP votes, even though it should be the opposite.
No, it don't cost him MVP. Listen, a guy don't have to...
In reality, I'm saying, Rich.
Here's what I'm saying. We get into this thing where you feel like a guy have to score 40. I see guys score 40, and guess what? It's a meaningless 40.
Right. No.
It's a meaningless 40.
What I'm saying is, the reality of who's the most valuable is KD should be there because he's not averaging 35 points, because he's doing that because he's playing with other good players and he's trying to win.
All I'm saying is...
But I'm saying the reality of MVP voters is a lot of people will look at the counting numbers and say, well, 27 points, this guy's averaging 33. But it should be the opposite.
Well,
he'll get penalized for what he should get credit
voting,
for.
We need to change all this, all NBA voting. We need to change a lot of stuff with that. But nevertheless, we're going to miss these guys when they're gone. That's all I'm saying. But let's get to this list.
All right. Why did you send me Francis, both Hardaways, Van Exel, Derrick Rose, and Agent Zero?
Well, because we were talking about where would these guys fare in today's NBA?
I think they'd all do well. I mean, like, they were all pretty good free throw shooters.
How good was Steve Francis?
Insane.
My God.
For a little while, for about 3, 4, 5 years.
Oh, but guess what? And I'm going to tell you something. Steve Francis was a star at Maryland.
Right.
I used to fly home when Maryland was coming on.
But why these guys?
Because I thought those guys, I was just thinking about just so many teams that could use a great point guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought, like, in Steve Francis' case, I mean, he had the handle, he had the athleticism, he had the finishing skills.
I think a lot of these guys will be underrated by history because.
Well, let me get through it. Hold on. Let me get through it.
Go.
Nick Van Exel.
Okay.
Another guy.
All right.
Right? This is what I'm saying. Nick Van Exel today averages 28. 28.
And shoots the three better.
Shoots the three. We know what Derrick Rose would do getting down. He wasn't too far removed. Gilbert, the reason why I like Gilbert, because we put so much emphasis on the three ball and where you're shooting the three from now. Gilbert was shooting the three from 40 feet out in Dolce & Gabbana sneakers.
Yeah.
You know how crazy you got to be to wear Dolce & Gabbana sneakers in an NBA game? He did it. And he was shooting the three from that far out. And then the last one, Penny Hardaway. And this is where
But that's just injury, really.
No, but what I'm about to say is Penny is on and off the court. Because Penny, as a player, forget about it. We all know what he could do. I mean,
there was a time in the NBA,
where he was the best player.
A moment where it looked like if you couldn't have Michael Jordan,
Give me
you
Penny
wanted
Hardaway.
Penny Hardaway.
Yes.
Just for a moment,
Yes.
it looked that way.
Yes, give me Penny Hardaway. And he had some of the flyest shoes and commercials. Penny Hardaway had really, I know people going to get on me for saying this, but Penny's brand was incredible.
It was incredible.
I think, oh my God, man, Penny.
Because sometimes, because it wasn't even about what he was doing, it was about what you thought was coming. Like Penny was still on the way up.
Oh
he was going to get better than he was. We never really saw the best of him.
They asked me a question, if there was a player I could represent that I never represented, like who would be that dream guy? And I said Allen Iverson. I'm still saying Allen Iverson because when I think about that, I think about who can I build a business with because it's hard to do it with any player. The other one is, I have to add Penny Hardaway there because Penny Hardaway had the opportunity to build, I do believe, a $1 billion business. And I think people get brand and IP and NIL, I think they get all that confused, because how many true brands in sports do you think there have been? Like true brands. And what do you...
In sports?
In sports. Because I want to know how you look at it from a
do you
brand
mean
perspective.
through the era where that meant something? There have been brands in sports that were not monetized because of the time when they played.
I'm talking about a monetization perspective.
Obviously, MJ is number one.
Yes. Yes.
Kobe was monetized, and had a real brand. LeBron has a real brand. NBA guys probably easiest to
do it because they're not playing in a helmet and
right, no question, and because they have more influence on the outcome of a game because there are fewer players on the floor. You can run every.
But
play
do you
through
think
them.
it's only basketball? Do you think it's only play driven?
No, it's more than play driven, but it's based on the play. It's based on the play, and if they did something Steph has a brand.
How much of a percentage?
Is it based on the play?
Yeah.
Over 50% is based on your play.
And how much is based on your partner?
Okay, I think less than you're going to say because Steph, the four guys I just mentioned, almost no matter what, would have had huge brands because they did something, with the exception of Kobe, who just looked like you squinted at, that's Michael Jordan, right? So that was already there. And then it was again, we didn't want to let go of it. We didn't have to. But Steph and LeBron both did new things. So who else changed the game like that isn't a big brand?
See,
and that would suggest to me it's not about your partner as much as it is about, your like shoe company that you work with or whatever, as much as it is about what you did on the court.
See, when I think about brand, yes, I think about play, but the most important thing is, it's very hard to say my brand if your brand hasn't become a business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I look at it. We know what Michael's business became. What, at $4 billion business, right? And continuing to grow. LeBron, obviously, at the height, I think LeBron's business was probably $700 million. I'm talking about annually. Yes. And I think this is where kids get it confused, and I think most athletes get it confused. 99.9% of athletes don't have a business off the court.
Don't have a brand.
I'm saying their brand is what they perceive as a brand is not a business. You have an endorsement portfolio, but when you have a business, here's how it works. Max Kellerman, you're the athlete. Okay. I see your potential. I'm paying you to start. I'm going to pay you. Shoe deals are so much different today, but I'm just going to pay you $3 million
Sold.
today.
Oh, sorry. Again. Yeah.
$3 million today over 4 years. Oh, well, if I really believe we can do a business with you, I'm going to pay you that over probably a little bit more, but your first deal will be like 6 or 7 years because it takes 18 months for us to put
Rich, should I take it? Should I take this deal?
Well, we'll talk about that later. Right. It takes 18 months to put a real strategy together,
Counter
right? If we really believe, right, then your play, your market, more importantly, your character, your willingness to cooperate. Now, your partner does matter because the product matters. So we're only we're only starting with footwear. You're not getting all this other stuff yet. We got
Iverson, Shaq. There are a couple other brands too. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but Iverson's. I'm talking about business. I don't know what.
I'm just thinking of athletes with brands.
Yeah, yes. AI had a real brand. I don't know. AI's business probably was a little bit bigger than Barkley's.
Yep.
Barkley probably had the best shoes in all of them.
And always had a huge personality and, you know.
And then Shaq was a little bit different because he decided to do
Bigs don't sell sneakers anyway.
Well, Shaq did. Shaq was a big that sold sneakers, at least his first, the kamikazes. But nevertheless, so now you get into that part and you have the product, right? Then they decide, okay, how many colorways you're gonna have. To start, you may only have like 8 to 12.
Okay.
And then within that 8 to 12, they do what you call like energy strikes. So in your energy strikes, you're gonna have a smaller SKU of those.
Explain
shoes.
that. What do you mean energy strike?
So an energy strike may be, I sit with you and you say, man, I want the Giants colorway, right? That goes out, that Giants colorway, to drive energy, but it's not really a retail colorway that you want to have from a mass perspective.
Right, so that's like the tastemakers.
Yes, it's only, but it's driving.
Influencers.
Yeah, it's driving energy. Then you do storytelling around certain things. So now, that goes over well. So they invested, they invested $4 million over, 6 years, so that's $24 million. Now, in that span of that 1 year, you did, let's just say you did $80 million.
You got me an extra $1 million a year there. I appreciate that.
You did $80 million, right? That now gives them the data to say, okay, the market can
expand
do
the
more.
Colorways and all this kind of stuff. Okay.
But with that, we also need you, Max, to do more.
Right.
Right. So now they bring in the marketing team. This year we're going to spend more money on print. We're going to spend more. We're going to do a actual spot. We're going to put you in a spot, depending on, et cetera. So now it has to grow.
Now, at that moment, the fact that you get a deal at all means you've separated yourself from a lot of people.
Yes, that's an endorsement
Then this is
deal.
almost like getting to the second deal in sports, like in the NFL, right?
Yes.
So the second deal is, okay, you have succeeded in doing this.
Yes.
Now we're going to expand the colorways. We're gonna grow it, and you now have to do more to push everything.
You have to do more to push
so
everything.
So that's kind of like your second contract plateau.
But here's what comes with that. See, what people don't understand is most athletes and most people around the athlete, they want to focus on a transaction. You have to build equity.
Relationships and equity, yeah.
Equity. And what happens is now this is what they're watching. Okay? Now here comes year 2. You have more. I remember vividly, we have to go to China this year. For what? Just
1.5 billion people there, that's what.
China has more basketball courts than we have schools in America. Like it's and you play outside. So there's there's an ability to build a different type of shoe that is a little bit more durable and things like that, which is a whole separate market. But stay with me. So you have the Asia Pacific market. So now you're going to China. Now, when are they asking you to go? Dead smack in the middle of summer. After you came off summer league, you tired.
You think you get a little break? Yep. Nope.
Nope. But this is part of it. So when you have a shoe deal, that's one thing. Most athletes coming out, they're gonna get a shoe deal. Then you have what you call a PE, which you get to the place of like a player edition where they kind of put your logo on it or whatever and do some colorways, etc. Then you get to the signature part. If you are able to get to the signature
if you're a signature
part,
athlete, yeah.
this is where you could possibly build a business. Now, every athlete wants a signature shoe. It's not in the cards, and it's not realistic. So if someone's in the room telling you you're gonna get a signature shoe, they're lying. It's just not
Unless
realistic.
you're a handful of guys.
And even that, you have to wait. You have to wait because there could be a traffic jam, right? You have to wait till guys kind of fall off. We had this conversation a little bit. But, man, I was a part of these rooms, and this is why the Rich Paul rule was so stupid. I'm going to tell you
The
why.
Rich Paul rule, for those who don't know, was all of a sudden you needed to have a college diploma in X, Y, and Z in order to be an agent. They wanted to push through on a college level. So, and it was clearly, it's called the Rich Paul rule because it was clearly aimed at not letting you be an agent.
Yeah, but what it was about was I guess they were saying you had to have a higher education.
Yeah.
But here's why that does not work, because the rooms that I was in and allowed to be in and worked alongside people in and gained experience in, there's not enough money. You cannot pay for this experience to learn these things.
Sure.
Right? And most people in my position, no offense, I don't want to sound like I'm making it about me because I'm not, but what I'm saying is most representation cannot add value in multifaceted ways in those rooms, right? If your agent has never bought sneakers, how could he be in a sneaker meeting and add value? What is he actually saying?
It's actually not much different what you're describing than like how Warren Buffett invests in stocks, right? Like you have to know what you're doing, have a philosophy about how to go about it. Is this thing useful? How is it useful?
They can talk about getting you more money. Okay, and that's great for most guys all the way up, but I'm talking about the
Taking
guys
it to
that
the
can
next
build
level.
a business.
Yeah.
So if I can build a business and you only talking to me about, okay, I can get you this much money over X amount of years, yeah, that's great, but you can't help me build a business.
Right.
So now, as the athlete, I got to look at that a little bit different. And I'll tell you, like,
should we put like the number to Clutch Sports up on the
no,
screen?
I don't even, no, because I don't even
Just
want
in case
that.
you're
No,
an athlete and
because I don't even want that. But what I will say, when I look at guys, and this is why with Penny, Little Penny, you had Little Penny.
That was such a great campaign.
This is what I'm saying.
Such a great campaign.
So when you have that and you're able to sell shoes, now what happens is now they go to the apparel side. They give you 2 T-shirts, 2 shorts, maybe 1 pair of socks. Then they go to the accessories. Then now you got a basketball with your logo on it. You got, this thing, that thing.
Do you know when Michael Jordan came out, there was a Michael Jordan basketball? I'm a Knicks fan. I'm in New York.
Yes, you had to buy
They sold
one.
it at Paragon Sports on 17th Street, right, by Union Square. And it was $8. I swear to God, Rich, I put it on layaway. I was like 11 years old and put it on layaway.
But here's my thing. So
put an
now,
$8 basketball on layaway.
accessories may be doing $30 million a year.
Right.
Apparel may be doing $100 million a year. I remember one year, I think LeBron had one coat in China. I think that one coat did $80 million. And then you have footwear. So your footwear business between domestic and really Asia Pacific, Europe wasn't really a thing like that.
Right.
That's why when Giannis came along, they really wanted to make it because, wow, we got this guy from Europe.
Now NBA Europe,
we can build with him. But before that, it was all European football. So basketball wasn't really a thing. That's why we did more so trips to China, Asia Pacific markets versus going to Europe. We did a little bit, but not a ton. But I say all that to say, for all the athletes out there, like, again, when you get a chance to become a signature athlete, you really have to sit down and now reevaluate. I don't care what nobody say. And I'm not reevaluate the team at that point, because you have a real shot. Because now I have what they call, I get my base.
1-800.
No, I get my base. Then I get my royalty.
Right.
Your royalty is where it really goes. And you miss somebody, because I'm going to tell you, who had one of the best shoes and one of the best brands, and he's probably going to do it again. It's Kyrie Irving.
Oof.
Because he got taste.
Kyrie,
and he's creative.
First of all,
I'm just telling you.
No question.
One of the best shoes.
Kyrie had one of the best shoes ever.
And he's doing it again. He's doing a great job with his new partner. But now you have to reevaluate all of this stuff, because you get a royalty. Your royalty is where you really win. When people look at MJ's business, yeah, MJ made the money because of his royalty. He built the business and he had a royalty. Then he probably redid it all over again. I don't know what it's like now, but that's where it really
Rich,
comes.
but I brought up the Damian Lillard line. He had some song that he made, but I overheard it, stuck in my head. Don't believe that time is money.
I get passionate about that type of stuff.
No.
I'm not selling. I'm not selling,
That's
because I don't want
super
people to think that.
That's super
because
interesting.
You can only represent people that
you go
value,
to the website and
no, you can only represent people that value expertise, and we're losing that in our industry a lot.
So Lillard says, "Don't believe time is money. Money is time. You stay focused. You look up, and your money's fine." I brought it up on Wednesday. The thing is, Rich, everything you just said, with some exceptions, like there are guys like AI or Kyrie, but even those guys,
why do
those guys build businesses? You could say, well, there are other guys like Marbury or whoever else.
I'll tell you why.
I'm saying what it comes down to is actually athletic excellence. You could say whatever you want about the way AI dressed, this, that, the other, who his partners were, all this. AI, when you put your eyes on him, no one was like that.
But that's only 50% of it. You're missing the big piece.
It's more than 50.
No, it's not.
Why is it then? If it's not more than 50,
missing a big piece.
Who else was AI who didn't wind up a brand? Or Kyrie, who didn't? When you say Kyrie, you're talking about probably skill for skill, the most skilled player who ever lived. You think it's an accident that he's a business?
No. What I'm saying is, yes, it's 50% basketball.
More than 50.
Okay, let's just say it's 60%.
All right.
Right?
I'll say 80%.
I disagree. Yeah. The other
what do you know? You've never done this
The
before.
other piece of that is, both of those guys you naming, one, they're relatable, because you don't walk down the street thinking you could be this 6'9", 6'10" person.
Right.
You think you
Steph
could be
is
Steph,
much more relatable
you think you could
than
be Kyrie,
Wemby.
You think you could be AI.
Yeah.
The other thing is, they connect to culture. AI had suburban kids wearing cornrows,
no doubt,
and arm sleeves, right? AI had every rapper. AI had Bentleys parked on the sidewalk that he forgot that he even owned. He had the mink to the floor. He had the platinum iced out. He had everything. He connected to culture, and he's dropping 40.
Yeah.
Because guess what? When AI used to come to Cleveland, and you could ask him this if you ever see him, you know who's the first person he was calling? Me. Rich, where you at?
1-800?
No, I'm serious. Rich, where you at? I'm at the Ritz. Pick me up. And then we would go to dinner, we would hang out. That was my guy.
Yeah.
Right? If it's the same thing with Kai. Kai wanted his shoe to look a certain way. He wanted the color. And then I'm going to tell you the last thing that matters more than just as much as anything else. Price point. See, once you get to a place where you start outpricing families, it's going to hurt your business. So if I'm at that sweet spot of $110 to $120 and my product is fly and I connect and I'm a real player, now you're starting to hit. I'm telling. If you talk to any executive at any brand, Adidas, New Balance, Under Armour, Nike, they're going to tell you Rich is exactly right. I'm telling you. So now, if a mom goes into a store, I got two young boys. I got to choose between a $200 shoe and I have to choose between a $120 shoe. And LeBron, in his meetings all the time, he had one of the biggest issues because he would say all
Didn't
the
wanna
time,
outprice
I
fit-
don't
yeah.
want to outprice
But
kids that
there's
come from where I come from.
There's a flip side to that, which is, number one, every athlete you just mentioned, Marbury was like that, not like AI. Lillard is like that, not like Kyrie.
Okay,
not
so
in
what-
terms
so-
of not in terms of like, oh my God, what did I just see? Okay, so and there were, Dominique was like that, not like MJ. Like it's so in each case, it's not an accident that the premier guy doing that thing is the guy who winds up with all this stuff. That's not coincidence. You can't point to
Yeah,
one dude
here's what I'm
where
saying.
it was true and
I
he
would
wasn't
say,
like
but AI
that.
only had 2 good shoes. To answering the question. After that, he didn't have it.
And there's another thing about the price point. So when I was a kid, you either had suede Pumas or shell top Adidas, right? Or you could do Nikes
but
a little bit.
But here's one more thing
Yeah.
I'm leaving out. Also, in those times,
Yeah.
especially in the 90s, the basketball shoe was the lifestyle shoe.
Yep.
Today it's harder because kids only wear the basketball shoe to actually play
Right,
basketball.
okay. So that's a good point. But the reason I brought that up is the price point. I remember my mother, like when I'm like 10 years old and I wanted new shell tops because mine were dirty and they were $50. $50 for that back then in the 80s, that's a lot of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the suede Pumas were maybe $10 less, right? So you wind up getting the Pumas. When Jordans came out, Rich, they were $100. No sneaker back then was I'm talking about like the early mid 80s. No sneaker back then was $100.
That's not true.
But what was $100 back then?
New Balance.
New Balance were expensive and they weren't $100.
That's not true.
I remember the first
Gemini.
pair of New Balance, my father got them, I was like,
why do you think?
they were like,
let me
they
ask
were
you
like
this question.
$70, and that was a lot of money.
Why do you think that New Balance became so popular in DC?
In DC, I don't know.
Because of the price point.
But wait, Rich, the $100 price point on the Jordans became aspirational.
Because they had someone that you could see on TV playing a game every day wearing that product.
But
too.
it also because of the price point, it was no more expensive to make the sneaker, but it became a symbol of,
Yes, of course.
some kind of wealth or conspicuous consumption or
But,
something
okay.
that you wanted to floss with.
But you're hitting on something. So are you saying that this is marketing at its finest?
Sure.
See, many people think marketing is endorsements. Marketing is not endorsements. Endorsements are endorsements. Marketing is storytelling. So you have the individual.
Right.
You tell a great story that people can buy into and believe. You make that product. Now, what color was the product?
Mm-hmm.
It matters.
The first Jordans were like the red, black, and white.
Right.
And
now,
then-
do you think they would have been red, black, and white if he played for the Bulls? Either way?
No, they were red, black, and white because he played for the Bulls.
I disagree.
The first ones, yeah, come on.
Because the first LeBron's were red, black, and white, and he played for
But
the Cavs.
that came after MJ.
But what I'm telling you is there's colors that matter in marketing, just like in the restaurant business. Take the best.
But the Jordan 3s, which were the best ones, were the little fake snake
No, it's
skin.
called elephant.
The elephant, right,
Yeah,
whatever they call it.
those are red, black, and white.
No, but the ones I'm talking about were basically like white with a little gray and then like a little red.
That's red. That's just the white. That's the white
not
dominant color.
like Bulls colors. You
No,
didn't look at that and think Bulls. But
Max,
the first one you
you're
thought
talking
Bulls.
to a sneaker guru.
I know, but
I'm just
lived
trying to
through
tell
that.
you.
I'm just saying.
I don't care
lived
what
through
you
that.
lived through.
You weren't
You
born
didn't
yet. I
buy-
was living through that.
Listen, I bought more shoes
That's true.
than you. Listen, here's what I'm trying to
What
tell
do
you.
you know about this business, Rich Paul?
But listen, here's what I'm trying
Okay.
to tell you. Take the best restaurants, the best fast foods restaurants.
Okay, fast.
What color are they?
Yep.
What's
a lot
your
of red. A lot of red.
Not just red.
White. Yep.
And what other color?
You're saying black?
No.
No.
Yellow.
Yellow. That's
Wendy's,
right. McDonald's.
Raising Cane's, Carl's Jr., In-N-Out.
Yeah. In and out.
There's something when you're marketing.
Burger King is more or less, yeah.
Yeah, but when you're doing marketing, these type of things matter, Max.
Okay.
So going back to red, black, and white, those colors matter, whether you're on the Bulls or not. But it just so happened that it lined up that he was on the Bulls, and yes, there's that
I
color.
will point out that the Bulls have black, and they basically took the black away going forward. And every brand you just mentioned is a lot of red and yellow and white, not so much black in those brands,
No,
right?
but I'm talking about it's
So
different.
the first ones were the Bulls colors.
But what I'm saying is, no, I'm talking about in the restaurant, it's red, white, and yellow.
Yes.
In footwear, it's red, black, and white
okay.
for the most
Okay.
cases,
All
what
right.
I'm saying.
I
And
wonder
no,
why black and footwear not in restaurants.
no, and with that colorway, you were coming out with 3 different colorways. White base, black base, and then the other colorway I just told you about is basically an energy. You tell a story. In MJ's case, he come white, red, and black, red, and white, and then you tell a story. Back to North Carolina, etc.
Right.
He comes Carolina.
With the powder blue, yeah.
It was only, by the way, back then, it was only 3 colorways. And so
It's
if you
interesting.
bought a pair of shoes, but here's the other thing. People didn't buy MJs because they wanted to be just like Michael Jordan. That was half of the people, half of the consumers. You know what the other half was? They wanted to be like Max, who had the BMW and the cute girl that had on Michael Jordan.
Sure.
So
The
now,
influencers,
if you
yeah.
get both of those consumers,
Yeah.
you have the entire market share.
That's interesting.
Because
So you have to have the elite athlete that's different than the others. Then you
How
have to
many-
have the influencers who
Yes.
sport
Especially
their
back then.
thing, and then you get
because basketball teams, high school basketball teams, for the most part, they play in a team shoe and wore their Jordans when they left the locker room. Not
what was like a bear your best player in high school? You
No,
Max, high school, there was a bear that could ball.
But if you actually did wear your shoe in game, pennies, Jordans,
Yeah.
Barclays, and you had them again when you left the locker room, now you was really at a
Yeah.
you was at a
Couldn't do that with the
whole-
Jordans because they would crease right here.
Well, it depends.
You needed another
I did.
pair.
I did.
You wore them with the you played in them. They had the crease right here, and then you
I
wore
played
them.
in them, and I had another pair in
Right,
my
that's
bag.
what I'm
You
saying.
crazy?
You needed another pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, more MJs being sold. I hope you learned something from this.
No, I hope you learned something, because this is a topic we could talk about forever.
No question.
Yeah.
All right, listen. Good week.
Yeah. What are you doing this weekend?
My daughter is coming back from New York on Sunday, but otherwise I'm open. I'm sorry I didn't call you on New Year's Eve.
It's all
I was
good.
I was KO'd.
No, you said you're a little under the weather. So
Yeah,
it's
I was
all
KO'd.
good.
Yeah, that's by night. I stayed up till I had to say Happy New Year to everybody. I had to say Happy New Year to, and then I knocked out.
I'm hoping that my office is semi-down. I've been really upset. I haven't been able to get into my office, man, because
Why?
Because the office has been closed.
Oh, right.
My office never closed.
What is this
but I'm
thing with
saying-
everyone taking off for
I
vacation?
don't do that nonsense. But nevertheless, but they're also remodeling my office. It's one thing for the office to be closed. I don't care about that because I can go in whenever I want.
Your office or the whole building?
The whole building is closed.
Oh, okay.
But normally when the whole building is closed, I still go in.
Right.
But in this case, not only is the whole building closed, my office is dismantled.
Your office is nice. What do you have to remodel?
I wanted to get some new carpet and rip the tile off and do some other stuff. New TV.
Gotta keep it fresh.
I wanted to keep it. I needed to be a little bit more warm. I wanted, candles. I want to put a throw on the
Candles?
back of the couch. Yeah, because like
Your
it's
living
my
room, it's
home
your
away from
office.
home. No, but I spend more time in my office than I do at home. So I want it to be. I don't want it to feel like I'm in a.
They don't call him
hospital.
Poor Paul.
No, it's just certain.
So what do you got going this weekend?
Outside of playing golf?
Yeah.
I don't know, see what my son wants to do. Well, my oldest, see what he wants to do. Obviously.
Is he going to get his license one of these days?
Kids these days, they're not in a they
Not
don't
in a
have
rush to get their
they don't
license.
have any sense of urgency at anything.
Yeah.
If I knew that I could get a car,
Yeah.
I would have had my first of all, I was driving with no license.
My daughter,
I
your
did
son's
anything
a
to
senior,
drive a
right?
car. Yeah, my son's
My daughter's
senior.
a junior. I
My
bet you
oldest, yeah.
she might wind up getting her license before your son.
She might. Listen, I would do anything to drive a car. I would go to the store for you.
Oh.
Do anything to
Any
drive
kind
a
of car.
Anything.
Some
Just anything.
hoopty, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Of
My
course.
first car, I had an 86 Cavalier with no reverse. Then I had the 86 Skylark with
No, in New York,
with
no one had a
bad
car, too.
carburetor.
So if you had a
That's the
car,
other thing,
forget
yeah. And I did whatever. I drove my auntie's cars, uncles, brothers, didn't matter. But these kids today, I don't understand it. maybe catch a movie. I'll definitely get a nice dinner.
Yeah.
And do a
I'm gonna call you this weekend.
Yeah, I want to go see Marty Supreme. I got to go see.
Yeah.
I got to go see Marty Supreme.
Yeah, it's getting great reviews.
Yeah, I mean,
No one goes to the movie theaters
Timothy
anymore.
Chalamet.
I love
why
going
wouldn't it
to
get
the movie theater.
great reviews. I like to go to the movies. We go to the movies all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to go to the movies. But then I don't know. I need to. We should get. I want to take you to the sushi place I was telling you about.
Let's
I want
do
to
it.
take you. Well, I mean,
Let's do it.
you can bring your daughter if you want to.
Yeah, she's not here till Sunday night though.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll call you. We'll figure it out.
All right. Good. So wait a minute. I have Seahawks, Ravens. You
Niners.
have Steelers.
I kind of
Niners.
like your picks better than mine, to tell you the truth.
Well, the picks are set in
Damn.
stone. The picks
Damn.
are set in stone. See you on Monday.
Game over with Max Kellerman and Rich Paul. You want to say
Please
it?
subscribe.
Please subscribe, he says.
And also,
I just say subscribe.
Also, not only just subscribe, give us a little insight. Should we bring the whiteboard back?
Yeah.
Max thinks he doesn't look great in this green. I think you look
I
fantastic
don't like
on your
green.
skin tone.
It's
I like
too close to the skin tone.
I
got
like it,
olive
man.
skin.
And by the way, I don't even have those.
Yeah,
What are those?
These are, I don't even know what they're called. I
992s?
found them at, I don't even want to shout them out. They could sponsor us if they want me to shout them out.
Okay,
Yeah.
those are dope. I have to find those. Why didn't you pick those up for me? Thought I had them already?
I mean, you have a deal with New Balance. Are you getting your different colorways?
I get a lot of different colorways, but that don't mean
You
I
gotta
have those.
Rich, let me explain how this works. First, you're going to get certain colorways.
No, see, I get passionate about that stuff, Max.
It was illuminating, as I said.
Serious, like this is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll give you a call. We'll figure it out as
Free game. Because
free
game's
game.
over.
Free game.
Because the game is over.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you
All
on
right.
Monday.
See you on Monday.
Must be 21 and over and present in select states. For Kansas, an affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.